What is DAI? DAI is a cryptocurrency that aims to be worth exactly $1. It's called a stablecoin because it aims to have a stable value. Other cryptocurrencies are constantly going up or down against the US dollar. Not DAI. DAI attempts to be worth as close to $1 as possible. Because it's a stablecoin, people who hold DAI worry less about the price falling, which would cause their holdings to lose value. They also worry less about DAI's price going up, making them regret a big purchase in the past. In 2010, someone famously bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin, worth about $30 at the time. That amounts to several $1 million per pizza today. If only they could have used 30 DAI to buy those pizzas instead. Besides being a stablecoin, DAI is also a decentralized cryptocurrency running on the Ethereum blockchain. Being a cryptocurrency gives it advantages over cash, such as efficient global transfers, programmable transactions, and more. In the next lesson, we'll explore how these advantages make DAI a useful store of value and means of exchange. What is DAI used for? DAI is a stablecoin that aims to be worth $1. But why would anyone want DAI? Why not just use dollars? There are several reasons someone might prefer DAI. First of all, it's borderless. No matter where you live, you can hold DAI. For the estimated 1.8 billion people worldwide who don't have access to a bank, this offers a potential way to hold value without a bank account. It's also a way for people to protect that value if they live in an economy suffering from hyperinflation, which can happen when the government prints so much money that the value of that money goes down rapidly. Second, DAI is programmable. It's controlled with code, giving it enormous flexibility. For example, if you owned a business that needed to pay a lot of people every day, you could write a smart contract that automatically sends DAI to each person for as long as you like. And because it's powered by code and the blockchain, these transfers can take place on Sundays, bank holidays, and even at exact times, down to the minute, for very low fees. That's not feasible with today's banking infrastructure. Third, DAI is easy to transfer. You can send DAI anywhere in the world in a few minutes for a few cents. Compare that to international bank and wire transfers that take days or charge very high fees. DAI runs on the Ethereum blockchain, making it fast and inexpensive. Fourth, DAI is decentralized. Because it's a cryptocurrency, it can be stored using a mobile wallet app. No bank account required. That means you don't need to trust a bank or company with your money. You'll always have access to your funds, and your account can never be frozen. Fifth, DAI is transparent and open source. Anyone can download, view, and use the code behind DAI, and the system that generates DAI is public and auditable. Finally, DAI is collateralized, meaning it's backed by other assets. For every DAI, there's over $1 worth of crypto backing it up in a smart contract. This collateral gives DAI its fundamental value. In the next lesson, we'll explore how this works. How does DAI stay stable? DAI is a stablecoin that aims to be worth $1. How is that possible? Let's take a look. This is Margaret. She has Ethereum, or ETH, and she wants some DAI. To get DAI, she could buy some with her ETH on an exchange. Or if she doesn't want to sell her ETH, she could use it to generate DAI. It works something like this. Let's say Margaret wants 100 DAI. In order to generate it, Margaret can deposit her Ethereum into something called a CDP. Think of a CDP as a vault for Margaret's collateral. The exact amount of DAI she generates is proportional to the amount of ETH she deposits. A typical ratio is 3-to-1. That means if she deposits $300 worth of ETH, she gets $100 of DAI back. As soon as she deposits that ETH, she gets DAI. Now she can use that DAI however she wants. In order to get her Ethereum back, she has to return the DAI and pay what's called a stability fee. This simple system creates economic incentives that aim to keep DAI equal to $1. Here's how the incentives work. If DAI falls below $1, Margaret can buy some cheap DAI and use that to get her Ethereum back at a discount. If DAI goes above $1, Margaret can do the opposite. She can generate DAI against her ETH and gain additional purchasing power. When you have thousands of Margarets generating and paying back DAI, these economic incentives, along with publicly voted on adjustments to the stability fee, aim to keep the price of DAI at $1. This system isn't magic. It's math, economics, and open source code. Today, the DAI creation process is one of the largest decentralized applications in the world, with over $300 million of ETH held in CDPs. And for good reason. Since it was launched in 2017, DAI has stayed close in value to $1. That's a big accomplishment in the ever-evolving world of decentralized finance. What are EOSIO and EOS? Let's say you're a software developer, and you want to build a blockchain-based application designed for millions of users. What do you need to consider? Blockchains have several advantages over traditional web applications, such as security and decentralization. However, in the past, they've also struggled to scale, been difficult to develop for, and suffered from significant transaction fees. If you're a developer building an app for millions of people, these limitations are real concerns. That's why the open-source EOSIO protocol was created. EOSIO was designed from the ground up to support scalable, easy-to-use, secure blockchain applications. First, EOSIO itself is scalable. Applications built on EOSIO have much lower latency than other blockchains. This means you don't have to wait minutes or even hours to know if a payment was processed or a message was sent. Transactions on EOSIO take only half a second. Second, EOSIO is easy to use for both users and developers. Transactions are free. Actions like sending tokens to a friend, selling an in-game item, or liking a comment are all free. And because they're on-chain, these transactions are also highly secure. EOSIO also supports short account names that users can choose for themselves and keep forever. Many other blockchains use difficult-to-remember public keys as an account name. With EOSIO, your account looks like this rather than this. To make it easier for developers to build apps, EOSIO is also powered by a technology called WebAssembly. This lets developers build very fast apps using popular programming languages like C++. Finally, the protocol offers distinct security features. For example, permissioned private keys. These are keys that can only perform certain actions, like posting a message, but can't perform more sensitive ones, like sending tokens. That means if you lose your phone or your permissioned private key, your crypto stays safe. So if that's EOSIO, what is EOS itself? EOS is the name of a blockchain that runs on the EOSIO protocol. It's also the name of the EOS blockchain system token. Today, EOS is the most popular EOSIO blockchain, but it's not the only one. Developers are rapidly building new blockchains with EOSIO to serve a variety of communities. In the next lesson, we'll explore what gives EOSIO blockchains their high performance, an innovative consensus model called Delegated Proof of Stake. What is Delegated Proof of Stake? Delegated Proof of Stake is EOSIO's consensus model. what's a consensus model, and how does it work? In the world of blockchain, consensus is how all the computers that run the network reach agreement. If computer A thinks that Sally has 6 tokens, computer B thinks that Sally has 4 tokens, and computer C thinks that Sally has 12 tokens, then they don't have consensus. This makes it impossible for the network to function because no one agrees about who owns what. So consensus is very important. It allows all the computers in the network to be in complete agreement without the need for a central decision maker. Achieving consensus, however, comes at a cost. It can make blockchains slow because decisions must be made collectively. Bitcoin, for example, uses a consensus model called proof of work. With proof of work, computers race to solve a mathematical problem, a process known as mining. The first computer to solve the problem shares the solution, which includes a list of validated transactions, with all the other computers on the network. The transactions are then added to the Bitcoin blockchain. The network builds consensus, and every computer races to find the next proof of work. This consensus model is very effective, but can also be slow and energy inefficient. EOSIO approaches consensus differently. It uses a different model called delegated proof of stake. With delegated proof of stake, computers don't compete over computational power. Instead, the network's users vote for the computers who they think are best qualified to run the network. This consensus model is designed to be faster and more energy efficient than proof of work. On EOSIO, the computers that run the network are called block producers. Many block producers are full-time professional teams running enterprise-scale hardware. On EOS specifically, the 21 block producers that get the most votes are delegated to run the network. Each block producer takes a turn validating transactions and producing blocks, which are then checked by the other 20 block producers. The block producers are then rewarded with EOS tokens for running the network properly. All of this happens very quickly. EOSIO produces a block every half second. By comparison, on Bitcoin, a block is produced every 10 minutes. If a block producer fails to verify transactions properly, for example, because it goes offline or isn't providing enough computing power to run the network's users can simply withdraw their votes for that block producer, and another block producer will immediately take its place. Today, there are hundreds of active block producer candidates on the EOS network. While only 21 actively provide consensus, EOS tokens are awarded to all block producers who receive a significant number of votes as a reward for providing computing power to the network. In the next lesson, we'll learn more about the EOS token, which is an integral part of the voting and reward process on the EOS network. What is the EOS token? EOS is a cryptocurrency running on the EOS blockchain. It has 4 distinctive features. First, EOS transactions are fast. Transactions are confirmed in only half a second and finalized in under 2 minutes. Second, it's free to transfer. Many other blockchains charge a fee for every transaction. This fee can range from less than a penny to several dollars during times of peak traffic. EOS, on the other hand, is always free to transfer. There is no mining fee. Free transfers make EOS especially appealing for microtransactions of a few cents or less. For example, buying an in-game item for 1 cent in an EOS-based game will cost just that, 1 cent. On other blockchains, it might cost 1 cent for the item and 5 more cents for the transaction fee. Free transfers also mean that simple actions on EOS, such as liking a comment or changing a username, don't require a transaction fee, helping to remove friction for users. Third, EOS tokens play an important role in governing the EOS blockchain. Only people who hold EOS can vote for the block producers who run the network. Finally, EOS is the only token on the EOS network that can be used to obtain the resources that developers need to run applications. We'll explain how resources work on EOS and the other EOSIO blockchains in the next lesson. CPU, net, and RAM. Resources on EOSIO. This is Sally. She's created an application that she wants to deploy on EOS, one of the blockchains built with the EOSIO protocol. What does she need to get it running? On other blockchains, Sally might deploy her app by paying a one-time mining fee. Then, when her users interact with the app, they would have to pay a mining fee as well, for every single transaction. Those fees add up fast, and they're collected by the miners, not by Sally. EOS and other EOSIO blockchains approach things differently. On EOSIO blockchains, developers like Sally don't have to pay to upload or update applications, and users don't have to pay to use them. Instead, both users and developers leverage EOSIO's 3 network resources to cover the network's costs. CPU is processing power. It's measured in microseconds. If Sally's app has a lot of complex transactions, she'll need more CPU. Net is network bandwidth. It's measured in bytes. If Sally's app handles a large number of transactions, she'll need more net. CPU and net are obtained by staking EOS tokens, or whatever token is designated for staking on other EOSIO chains. Staking is the process of locking up crypto for a period of time. EOSIO rewards people who stake their tokens by giving them access to network resources. There is no cost to stake apart from owning the token itself. And the more tokens Sally stakes, the more resources she gets. On EOS, regular users might only need to stake a fraction of 1 EOS to get all the CPU and net they need. Users who need more bandwidth and resources, like gamers who make lots of transactions, might stake several EOS. And a developer like Sally might need to stake hundreds of EOS to cover all the processing power and network bandwidth her app needs. If she ever needs more, she can stake more EOS to get it. Or she can unstake her EOS if her resource needs decline. The third EOSIO resource is RAM. RAM is measured in kilobytes and represents data storage. The more on-chain storage developers like Sally need, the more RAM they need to acquire. Unlike CPU and net, RAM is not obtained by staking. Instead, it's purchased through a market managed by EOSIO's core system software. If you're a new EOS user, you'll get all the CPU, net, and RAM you need when you set up a new wallet. In the next lesson, we'll explore how apps are developed for EOS and other EOSIO blockchains. Developing apps with EOSIO. EOSIO is a blockchain protocol that's designed from the ground up for large-scale, real-world applications. With EOSIO, any developer can create a blockchain like the EOS blockchain itself, high-speed, flexible, and secure. For example, Sally might create the SAL blockchain. The SAL blockchain could have its own tokens, its own resources, and its own block producers. And because all EOSIO blockchains use the same protocol, Sally's blockchain could send data cross-chain to other EOSIO blockchains. Alternatively, Sally could build an app or launch a token on the EOS blockchain itself, allowing her to leverage EOS's computing resources and popularity. EOSIO also has 4 features that developers often find valuable. First, EOSIO gives developers the freedom to upgrade smart contracts rather than upload new ones, something that's not possible on many other blockchains. Second, EOSIO has the ability to create scheduled and recurring transactions. That's useful, for example, when paying for a monthly subscription. Third, EOSIO has a rich set of pre-built libraries that help developers build apps faster and avoid common security issues. Finally, developers can create apps using familiar development tools. That's because EOSIO uses the same front-end technologies that power many existing non-blockchain web applications. In the future, EOSIO aims to become even more developer-friendly. New tools for discovering, accessing, and querying blockchain data are being built, as are new features for improved performance. Today, blockchain applications are often difficult to use and develop for. EOSIO is working to change that by aiming to create a flexible, scalable protocol that's built for the real world and for real people. Today's global financial infrastructure has a big communication problem. There are a lot of different currencies and a lot of different payment systems. Each one speaks a different language, so they have a hard time understanding each other, which makes moving money slow and expensive, and a lot gets lost in translation. Stellar's vision is to unite the world's financial infrastructure so money can flow quickly and cheaply between banks, businesses, and people. The internet connected the world's computers so information could be shared globally. Stellar is doing the same for money. To accomplish this vision and ensure integrity and neutrality, Stellar is not a bank or a business. Instead, it's a decentralized open network, supported by a nonprofit foundation that handles every currency and speaks to every payment system in its native language. That means businesses can move money globally in seconds, no matter what bank they use back home. And people all over the world can use Stellar to send money to family overseas, to convert one currency to another, or to make payments that are too small to cover fees traditionally charged by today's institutions. In the future, Stellar hopes that you won't have to use traditional infrastructure to get your money where you want it to go. Instead, you'll just use Stellar. Stellar is a platform that connects banks, payment systems, and people so they can easily move money anywhere in the world. To help make this possible, Stellar has created a cryptocurrency, the Lumen. The Lumen is the native asset of the Stellar network. It serves as a kind of universal translator between each currency. Here's how. Imagine a business in the United States needs to pay a supplier in China. They've got US dollars in their bank account in Kansas City, but they need the payment to show up as Chinese yuan in the supplier's account in Guangzhou. What can they do? They could send money the traditional way via international wire transfer. But that's slow. International wires take several days to clear. Complicated. In many cases, funds move through multiple intermediary banks before reaching their destination. And expensive. Each intermediary takes a percentage of the transaction in fees. As money moves around the world, the fees pile up, and the business in Kansas City loses more and more of its hard-earned cash to unnecessary middlemen, as does the supplier in China. By comparison, what if the business used Stellar? Stellar has a decentralized exchange built right into the protocol. It can route a payment in US dollars through its order books, so it comes out on the other end as Chinese yuan automatically. If there's no good offer to exchange dollars for yuan, lumens act as an intermediary. Stellar simply converts dollars into lumens, and then converts lumens into yuan, all in under 5 seconds, and for a fee of 1/10,000th of a cent. In addition to serving as a universal currency translator, lumens also protect the integrity of the network by preventing spam. Transaction fees are paid in lumens, and every Stellar account has a minimum balance, too. The transaction fees and minimum balance are low enough that legitimate users don't really notice them, but high enough to disincentivize spammers. Lumens are a critical component of the Stellar protocol. They allow it to be efficient, scalable, and they serve as a universal translator for assets. So you can move funds cheaply, but not too cheaply, with the transparency and security only a decentralized blockchain can provide. That's a big step forward for financial infrastructure, all thanks to Stellar. This is Maria. She lives in the United States. And this is Maria's mom, Paulina. She lives in the Philippines. Today, Maria wants to send her mom $20. This is called a remittance. Remittances are money sent to support a family member in another country. And they're a very big deal. The World Bank estimates that global remittances are over 600 billion US dollars every year. Unfortunately for Maria, sending a remittance is pretty expensive. Her bank in the US has no connection to her mom's bank in the Philippines, so she has to use a money transfer service, which means paying a lot of fees. One popular American service charges a 3% conversion fee, and the transfer takes 3 to 4 days. The same service also offers to do the transfer faster, but for an additional fee of $9.99. If Maria used this service to send $20, it would mean half the amount would be spent on fees. That's a huge percentage. And Maria and Paulina are not alone. The average fee globally for remittances is 7.1% of the transaction. And there are millions of people who pay these fees every day. But what if Maria used Stellar? Stellar is a decentralized platform that unites banks, payment systems, and people so they can easily move money anywhere in the world. If Maria used Stellar to send her $20 to Paulina, the Stellar network would convert her US dollars to Philippine pesos in less than 5 seconds. So Paulina would receive $20 worth of her local currency, not $20 minus fees. Stellar makes this possible by connecting financial institutions to the Stellar network, which has a built-in order book that exchanges assets. So Maria could send US dollars or any other currency to her mom, and it's converted automatically to Philippine pesos. That's the vision of Stellar. Stellar is a platform that aims to connect banks, businesses, and people far more efficiently than today's financial infrastructure. Let's take a bank, a business, and a person and show you how this works. First up, the bank. This is Main Street Bank. To use the Stellar network, Main Street Bank sets up a Stellar account. Then, using Stellar's built-in tools, the bank hooks its existing infrastructure into the Stellar network. Now the bank can take its real-world assets, like dollars, euros, or pounds, and turn them into Stellar tokens. And their customers can deposit a US dollar in Main Street Bank and get a US dollar token on Stellar in return. All Stellar tokens are exchangeable. And since exchanges happen on the Stellar network, they only take a few seconds and cost a fraction of a penny. Anyone can transfer, store, and trade Stellar tokens, just like lumens, anywhere on the Stellar network. So now the bank can take a dollar, turn it into a token, transfer it around the world in 2 to 5 seconds, and convert it back to a dollar again. For banks, Stellar makes money transfers fast, simple, and inexpensive. Next up, the business. Let's call it ABC Technologies. ABC makes an app. They want to make it possible for the app's users to buy and sell in-game items with each other using a single currency. To do that, they use Stellar to create a new token called the ABC token. The ABC token is, in effect, a new cryptocurrency running on Stellar. It isn't backed by a real-world dollar like Main Street Banks, but other than that, it acts entirely the same. With Stellar, any business can create new tokens to reward customers and create new economies and markets related to their brands. Finally, we have people. This is Lee. She's a big fan of ABC's app, and she wants to buy a new avatar. Unfortunately, she doesn't have any ABC tokens left. So what does she do? She uses Stellar's built-in marketplace to buy some. Lee has US dollar tokens that she previously bought from Main Street Bank. She transfers those into the ABC app and instantly converts them into ABC tokens to buy her favorite avatar. And if she has some US dollar tokens left over, she can return them to Main Street Bank and get her dollars back right in her bank account. Or she can hang on to them or trade them for another token. Any asset can be turned into a token on Stellar. Traditional currencies, cryptocurrencies, real estate investments. So whether you're a bank, a business, or a person, Stellar makes it possible to quickly and efficiently issue, exchange, and transfer tokens in an entirely new way. Stellar is a platform that connects payment systems and people. It's a decentralized network, meaning no single company has the power to turn it off. Stellar's decentralized network is made up of all the independent computers that run Stellar software. Anyone can join. Stellar's network is different from Bitcoin's in a few key ways. Computers on Bitcoin's network compete with each other to validate transactions through a process called mining. This requires expensive hardware and lots of electricity. Stellar doesn't rely on mining, because when a network's miners disagree, the network can split in two. This has happened in the past with both Bitcoin and Ethereum. But because Stellar allows digital versions of real-world assets like digital UN or digital bonds, Stellar had to devise a way to prevent the creation of duplicate versions of those assets. For example, if a dollar on Stellar were duplicated, its backing bank would suddenly owe two real-world dollars, one for each copy of the network. This would obviously be a problem. So Stellar uses a unique way to settle transactions developed by researchers at Stanford University. Here's how it works. Stellar relies on cooperation within the network, rather than competition. Each company doing business on Stellar connects a computer to the Stellar network. It picks a few other computers it always wants to agree with, it processes the transactions they process, and keeps its list of transactions aligned with theirs. The computers the company depends on, in turn, have chosen to agree with others. And those ones agree with still other computers, and eventually the whole network is covered in an interlocking web of agreement. It's actually very similar to how the Internet's web servers work. Stellar uses this pattern to guarantee the network's safety. Every 5 seconds, the connected computers negotiate with each other according to very specific rules to finalize their agreement. They cross-check each other across the whole network, all at once. The rules of the system have been designed so that even if bad computers participate, accuracy and stability are maintained. This agreement system is called the Stellar Consensus Protocol. It allows computers running Stellar to process transactions in under 5 seconds without using a significant amount of electricity and for a very, very small transaction fee. So who runs Stellar nodes today? Global banks, developers, businesses, anyone who wants to transfer money via the Stellar network. Stellar is simple to set up, free to use, and above all, it's open to everyone. And that's a big improvement over today's international financial infrastructure. Brave is on a mission to fix what it believes is a broken web. Ads are everywhere. They follow you from site to site to site, collecting personal information, tracking your browsing activity, cluttering up content, all the while slowing you down. The average person downloads more than 2,000 ads and trackers every day. Brave wants to change that. They believe your web browsing data shouldn't be collected without your permission, packaged into a profile, and sold to the highest bidder to be used for even more advertising. Instead, Brave believes it can make the web faster, more secure, and more private without intrusive ads. To accomplish this vision, Brave has built a new web browser for phones and computers, the Brave browser, and an Ethereum-based token called Basic Attention Token, or BAT. The Brave browser blocks ads and trackers that compromise your privacy. To help websites make up for lost revenue, Brave makes it possible to acquire BAT and give it directly to your favorite sites. Or you can enable Brave Rewards, which serves ads that don't collect or sell your data. When you opt into Brave Rewards, the sites you visit are paid in BAT, and you're rewarded too for paying attention to the ads. It's a win for everyone, except all those third-party ad trackers, of course. Learn more at brave.com. Brave is a free, open-source web browser with several unique features. It blocks ads automatically, so browsing the web is faster and less cluttered. With Brave, you also won't be tracked from site to site by advertisers, so your web browsing stays private. If you want even more privacy, Brave also allows you to open a private tab with Tor for truly anonymous browsing. Brave supports all of your favorite Chrome extensions, too. It's built on Chromium, the open-source project that powers Google Chrome, So Chrome extensions work right out of the box, without any connection to Google in the background. What makes Brave really unique, though, is Brave Rewards. You can opt into Brave Rewards to directly support publishers and content creators while you browse the web. And you can earn rewards by viewing private ads that aren't tracked. Brave Rewards will notify you of offers as you browse. When you click an offer, a full-page ad opens in a private tab. You get to enjoy clutter-free content while earning rewards from viewing private ads. In exchange for paying attention to these ads, Brave rewards you with its own Ethereum-based token called Basic Attention Token, or BAT. You can pass along your BAT to reward content creators, purchase premium subscriptions, and more. The more you browse with Brave, the more you earn, and support your favorite creators. Learn more at brave.com. The Basic Attention Token is an Ethereum-based token that is designed to improve digital advertising on the web. It works with Brave, a new web browser built for privacy and a safer, faster internet experience. Basic Attention Token, or BAT, was created for consumers, publishers, and advertisers. Consumers get paid for viewing opt-in, private ads. Publishers get rewarded when consumers pay attention to their content, and advertisers get access to an audience that has opted in to seeing their ads. To use BAT, just download Brave and switch on an optional feature called Brave Rewards. If you opt in, you'll receive ads that don't compromise your privacy. Brave also blocks all the other ads that track you or can infect you with malware. When you consent to viewing ads on Brave, you earn BAT as compensation for your attention. Your favorite websites and content creators also get BAT as a reward for creating content you want to browse. 70% of the advertising revenue goes to you. That's a big change from today's ad ecosystem, where you are the product and receive nothing. Once you collect some BAT, you can donate it to the creators you love. For example, a favorite blogger, band, podcaster, or news site, allowing them to get paid more for their creative content. To make a donation, just tap the Basic Attention Token icon in the Brave address bar and select how much you want to send. That's it. In the future, the Brave team hopes to bring BAT beyond the web browser into chat apps, social tools, games, and more. In that way, Brave aims to build more than a better web. It intends to build a better, safer, and more equitable digital world. Learn more at brave.com.